I've been involved with Nikken since 1997, and my very first event was where you went diamond in '97, or did you go royal? Royal diamond, because I was down in Edison, New Jersey.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was very exciting, and I had just learned about it from a naturopathic physician who knew I was interested in alternative health and wanted to raise awareness about natural living in this area, and he called me and said I should learn about Nikken. And I said, don't bother me. I've looked at network marketing before. I don't want to compete with my local health food store, you know. And he said, let me send you a tape. It's cassette tapes in those days. And so I said, okay, I'll put them in my car and see what it's about. So I kept forgetting to do it. He called me 4 different times. And finally, I said, I haven't listened. I'm not that excited about a network marketing company because I've looked at so many, because I was a nutritionist and everybody wanted me to handle their nutrition, so their nutrition product. So I went and told him that I could, he asked if he could come over for a half an hour, and I said 30 minutes. That's all, 30 minutes. So when he walked in the door, I asked him, what's it about? And he said, well, it's this Japanese company that's coming to the US with magnetic products. Well, I didn't tell him, but my heart jumped because I knew that we needed more magnetic field in our lives. Because I'd lived in upstate New York for 4 years and had helped some Indians fight the New York State Power Company that was placing an ultra high voltage transmission line across their property. And this is after my husband and I gave up the yuppie life in Philadelphia, and we decided to do something socially useful. And so we were helping the farmers and the Indians fight this high voltage transmission line company. So we heard all the testimony about what the electromagnetic pollution was doing, where these big high voltage lines were already stationed in Canada. And schools and churches and anybody who lived close to the line was having more cancer. I saw pictures of 2-headed cats. The cows in the dairies were infertile, and we saw dandelions that were 14 inches across. There was major DNA mistakes happening because of these ultra-high voltage transmission lines. So we helped them do the research, and it was great fun to do something really socially significant. But meanwhile, we learned how important it was to have natural energy. We learned from the Indians that when the chants and the herbs don't work, they dig a hole in the ground to let Mother Earth re-energize the sick people. So it was an amazing experience to know the Indians. They did eventually put the line through, but because of all the testimony, they had to take a twice as wide right-of-way. So that was really important because it doubled the cost of buying the land for the high-voltage transmission line. And they also, we also revealed that part of the idea of putting this down was to place nuclear plants along the St. Lawrence to feed New York. But since we exposed that, because there was records of this idea in the US Congress, I don't think there are any nuclear plants along the St. Lawrence, and it's largely because of that case, so we're very proud of that. So when we bought our farmhouse, it took 4 years to rebuild it, and then we ran out of money and came back to Philly. But what we learned was about nature, living in nature. When people came up to visit us, they said they never got tired, and we would put them to work, you know, doing the roof and the garage and everything. But they never got tired, and we figured out it was because we had no concrete between us and the earth. We were getting total natural energy all the time. And the other thing was we minimized the wiring because we wanted to minimize electric. So we did only what the zoning required as far as having the outlets on the wall and that kind of thing. So we didn't have a TV, we just tried to get out of modern energy. So when Bob told me that this guy over in Japan, exactly the same time, mid-70s, had figured out how to restore us to natural energy without going and living in a 150-year-old house and starting from scratch, I was all over it. And I did believe in network marketing, but it just seemed like I didn't want to argue with people about which vitamins they were taking. But this was absolutely unique to have insoles for the shoes were the very first product. And then the next product was a futon that is magnetic. So it's like you're camping out on a mountainside instead of in a little concrete box, which is what most houses are these days. So these are the insoles. And so I'm going to share a quick PowerPoint with you and then do some demonstrations and ask for some testimonials, and then I'm going to have Mike take over. So let me start this PowerPoint here. Which one is coming up? So we've invited you to discover active wellness and living a life in balance. And I love the Asian or origins of Nikken, because in the Orient they really talk much more about balance. In America it's like bigger is better, more is better. In Asia it's about balance. And so the basic philosophy of Nikken is all about balance. And what we found is that it's the daily decisions we make. It's not like, oh, I'm going to join a fitness club next month, or I'm going to lose 30 pounds. It's the little decisions you make every day that add up to happiness, health, and even success in life. And when we came back to Philadelphia, I did some legal work, but I really wanted to stay home with the kids. And I had taught myself nutrition because my husband and I want to be married 100 years. So in the 70s, I'd educated myself about nutrition. And I started writing parenting books because everybody was asking me why our kids were so easy to take care of. And so when I started a family counseling practice, I included this idea of nutrition, good sleep, lifestyle choices. It makes all the difference, because I found most of the stresses in families were because the kids weren't getting enough sleep, they weren't getting a good breakfast, they were snacking right before bed, and now today, they're all on their mobile phones. And it's really those little lifestyle choices we make every day that make all the difference. Today, things are worse than when I started Nikken 19 years ago. How many of you have no stress? Good for you. All right, good. Well, stress is a silent killer. It's involved in 70% of the things that kill us early. Heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, and all the things that destroy the quality of life: anxiety, depression, allergies, poor sleep, weight gain. All of those things are involved in stress. And stress acidifies our bodies. And the effects of trying to respond to stress acidify our bodies. So nothing works quite as well as it should. How many of you have experienced some sleep issues in the last year or two? Okay, 70% of Americans say that they have sleep issues. Either they have trouble falling asleep because their minds are just going, or when they wake up at the middle of the night, they can't get back to sleep. Or when they wake up, they wish they could stay in bed because they have not been restored, they don't have the energy, and they have to drink coffee all day to stay awake, or go for candy bars. When I was, my very first job, I was working for a TV show, and everybody, every 2 hours, they would go get a cup of coffee or a candy bar. And I thought, this is strange. But that's the way America runs right now. And it's a shame. And 30 to 60% of your immune system is affected with one night's poor sleep. And I went to a lecture at the University of Pennsylvania where they said that students needed to sleep before their exams, because if they crammed, it would all just disappear very, very quickly. But if they got some sleep that night before, they would put away their memories. So part of the problem people are having with their focus, their concentration, their memories, particularly kids and college kids and older people, is just not getting into a deep, deep sleep. We all see the headlines every day about air and water. Now our indoor air in most parts of the country is worse than the outdoor because we closed up our houses to keep down the costs of the heating and cooling. So any chemicals we bring in, and we get more and more chemicals in our curtains, our carpets, our bedding even, and of course cleaning. A lot of people use strong chemical cleaners, and they all concentrate in the house. And you also get a concentration of the positive ions, which are not positive for health. They're negative for our health. And they make it harder for your lungs to grab the oxygen that you need. And so when you go outdoors, you get the negative ions when you're on the beach or in the forest or by a stream, that the churning of the air helps produce those good negative ions. Then the water, of course, Flint, Michigan has heightened everybody's awareness of the contaminations in the water. But now Philadelphia has admitted that their lead's too high, and we just got an F, Pennsylvania got an F for the quality of water in schools. There are 12 cities in Pennsylvania that admit that there's lead in the school water systems, and they're telling people that they've got to convince their schools to get point-of-use water systems because it's going to take billions to fix the tap water around Pennsylvania. So the kids are getting lead, which we know affects their developmental and attention issues. So it's astounding. And the bottled water, they try to make it taste better by taking out the chlorine, but all the toxins are still in there. And tap water has the agricultural chemicals, the endocrine disruptors. My dad was an infertility physician, and he predicted that the endocrine disruptors that are in our agricultural commercial usage were going to increase the infertility. He said there will never be they're going to need more and more infertility doctors, and that has certainly come true. He was one of the pioneers, I'm proud to say. But he knew that toxins were a big problem, and he would put his patients on nutrients before he would do anything chemical. And he often was able to help couples who had been to the Mayo Clinic. There were all kinds of fancy stuff, and then he would counsel them and give them nutritional supplements, and then they'd go have babies. So he knew a lot about that. And the toxins in water are so much worse than they were 30, 40 years ago, and everybody needs to be purifying their water one way or another. And you can spend $3,000 or $4,000 for an all-house unit, but if you're mopping your floor, it doesn't have to be pure alkalized water. It can just be what came from the tap. So there's been a burgeoning of purification systems that don't necessarily do what you think they should do. So, of course, the worst sufferers are the children, and this is unacceptable in the wealthiest, supposedly most sophisticated continent in the world. Obesity rates are a third of the population. It's ridiculous. And this is the first generation where they don't think the kids are going to live to the same age that their parents are. And I want to make a point there that many people think we're getting all these chronic diseases because we're living so much longer. But if you look at the longevity tables, if you live to 50, you don't have an epidemic, a childhood disease, poverty, or war. If you live to 50, our life has only been extended 3 to 4 years in the last century. So we're not getting all these chronic diseases because, wow, we're living past 40. No, it's because we're drowning in toxins and making poor daily choices and avoiding nature, which is what we need to stay healthy. So less than half of adolescents are getting the required, the recommended amount of vegetables. Of course, low-income families are way off. much worse than us, more stress, more anxiety, and that's a significant part of our population, unfortunately. And 27% of high school students aren't getting the right amount of activity that's recommended, and that's because they don't have the energy, they're not eating well, and a lot of them are dealing with weight problems. So what is the answer? The motto of Nikken is humans being more. And it's really the goal with Nikken is to build people. And we kind of build them from the ground up, literally. Like I said, the very first product was magnetic insoles. And the idea is to get us grounded, earth, getting connected to the earth. And the earth is a giant magnet. They're very excited that they found some signs of magnetic field having once been on Mars, which means there might have been some life on Mars at a time that we would recognize as life. And so the magnetics is the signature technology of Nikken, but they now do everything they can think of to restore us to natural. So being healthy by choice, not by chance. The statistics, as I've just shown, are terrible. And so we invite you to choose active wellness, taking active control of your life. So Nikken is the only global comprehensive company that has a total effect to natural living and holistic approach. So this philosophy 42 years ago when they were founded of 5 pillars actually came from the founder's mother: healthy body, healthy mind, healthy family, healthy society, and healthy finances. And if any of those start to suffer, the others will as well. When we gave up our lucrative legal practice in Philadelphia, I was with a top law firm and, heading for partner, but I saw that the partners there most of them were divorced. Their kids weren't speaking to them, and we're like, this isn't a good pattern. So we thought we'd sacrificed finances to focus on family and a positive environment and health. But with Nikken, it was very exciting to have a company that said, no, you can have it all. And that's exactly what Nikken does. So now I'm going to show you a short video that introduces you to the Nikken company.
Water, food, sunlight, sleep.
We had audio earlier.
We all need these life-giving elements. Nature provides them in abundance, and she shows us how to use them. Air, water, food, sunlight, sleep. We all need these life-giving elements. Nature provides them in abundance, and she shows us how to use them. We experience this life together, the discovery of who we are, and the journey of finding a truly purposeful life. Living fully empowered, day in and day out. We're always looking for those things that can make our life better. At Nikken, our life mission is to inspire people to discover a better way of life and to provide everyone the means to make a life that is their own. Nikken provides balance through imaginative technologies that are holistic and pure in nature, like our patented magnet technology and our natural materials. You will create a wellness home where you can thrive and prosper. The Nikken approach is about harmonizing the way life in nature is, where you can give back and receive. We all deserve to be happy, fulfilled.
I think the connection to Zoom is probably impacting.
Oh. Oh, maybe so. Hmm. Well, I guess don't know what to do.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So Nikken, sorry about that. Nikken's been involved in research in top universities all over the world and has come up with state-of-the-art products that are all patented, that are designed to replicate nature based on science. And like I said, the very first product was insoles for the shoes. And then they developed a sleep system, a water system, didn't bring the air system, I meant to put that in the car, and a wonderful line of nutritionals. And like I said, I didn't want to do nutritionals, but these are absolutely state-of-the-art, and it's very easy to demonstrate. And then natural light, a full spectrum light that is easy on the eyes and also helps you with your day-night rhythm because it gives you extra blue. So I have that on my desk and the bedside table. And then the whole system is designed to keep you as natural as possible. And that really makes all the difference. So that is the Nikken advantage, is to be in a superior position where you are taking care of your body. And I can say personally, having used Nikken products for 19 years, I feel like we just stopped the clock. And we, of course, in 19 years, you have little injuries. I broke my wrist last year, and it healed beautifully. I hurt my knee a couple years ago. But with Nikken's energy, everything gets better. So quicker than the doctors expect. So now I'm going to talk a little more about the products and invite people to come up and try the products. So who hasn't used insoles before? Oh, you want to come up? Thank you.
This is really good.
Mr. Masuda, the founder of the company, has been doing this demonstration from the very beginning, every 2 years. So just step on there. Let's see. Yeah, it'd be easier to take them off there. It's not easier, it's harder, but it's better. As long as they're not lead or concrete, the energy will go through them, but it will be even better. Thanks. So just put your arms out like this, and I'm going to press down, and you just resist, okay? Kinesiology. 1, 2, 3, resist. Okay, press as hard as I can. Okay, let's step back from there. I'm just going to do the same thing again. Okay. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, resist. See that? Yeah. Come back here again? Yeah. What did you notice? 1, 2, 3, resist.
I definitely feel more grounded. Is that a good word?
That's a good word, yes. And let's do one right thing here. Okay. Okay, now this time I'm going to press up and try to get you off balance, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, resist. Okay, over here. Ready? 1, 2, 3, resist.
That's very nice.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. And just with those, Nikken became the fastest growing company in the history of Japan. years, just by having people try them. So what difference would that make in your day?
I think since I'm on my feet a lot, I think it would make a difference. You know, I definitely feel like I have more strength, you know, which is interesting. It's something so small can make such a big difference.
Yes, it's got these amazing little power buttons that they're not only magnetic, but they give you the warming energy of the sun, and they put out the negative ions. Only we can find all those things. So, can we try one more thing? Sure. Let's step on there. You like being there.
Feels pretty good.
Okay. Can you put your right arm out? Okay. And just keeping your feet flat on the floor, twist all the way back, and mark on the wall how far you went. Nice and flexible. Mark where you went. Okay. And now I'm going to put this over your back. See if you should go a little further. Yeah, we're having back issues. No. Okay, try again. Oh, round knuckle. That pad has exactly the same technologies that are in the insoles.
Right.
And so when things are in the magnetic field, just everything communicates better because all life evolved in the magnetic field. It's only the last 100 years we've got it. So you want to try it again? You didn't believe it. You try it again.
All right.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So would you like to have these in your life?
I think, well, I think definitely definitely that was pretty amazing.
Imagine sleeping on a bed during the most important cycle of your life.
Sure.
Your
This is our sleep system. It has the little power buttons embedded in this beautiful woolen and cotton, completely natural material. And this is a sustainably grown latex from Sri Lanka. We import it, but they grow it sustainably, and it's completely natural. It's actually just like it's a form of cork. It's taken from under the bark of the tree, and the tree grows very fast. And nobody has any allergies because it's latex powder. The way it's processed and powdered, that people react to. I know the nurses that get sensitive to the powder, but there's completely hypoallergenic, and it breathes. You can see all the little holes and stuff. So it's the finest sleep system you can possibly be on, and we combine it with a comforter that has magnetics throughout and also reflects back with the ceramic, special ceramic that Nikken developed in the fabric that reflects far infrared, which is the warming energy of the sun. If you go out on a cold day, your cheek will feel warm. Your body changes that far infrared frequency to warmth. But if you're already hot, you don't get hotter. It just goes right through the quilt. So we call this the marriage saver. And when my acquaintance who had introduced me to Nikken said, "Oh, this is a marriage saver," I'm like, "That's none of your business." But it did help, you know. We weren't fighting over the quilt anymore. He would pick it off, I would pull it on, that kind of thing. And we also have a beautifully ergonomically designed pillow that supports your neck. I was in Japan when I was 58. In 1958. I was 10. And we actually went to a geisha school, and I was so impressed because they told me that they sleep on a wooden block to support their neck because the beauty of their face was so dependent on all the good energy flowing from their body to their face. And I never forgot that. So when I got Nikken's first pillow, it was very firm, and I kept thinking of the geishas and I'm going to be beautiful. So, so this is the core of our product line, I believe, just as Mike just said, it's everything happens when we're asleep. Our memories, our immune system rebuilds, our nervous system, our healing goes on, our muscles recalibrate themselves. And then the water is the other thing. So that's the big thing I want to demonstrate. Also, I have a volunteer who hasn't had IMAG water before. Mohammed, would you like to try the water?
Yes.
Could you come up, please? No. Well, let me just start with this. Put your fourth finger and your thumb together. Just your fourth. Yeah, just this one. Just this one. Okay? Yeah. And I'm going to try to pull them apart. You hold them together, okay?
All right.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, squeeze. Okay. So you got that feeling? Okay. Now I'm going to give you a sip of this IMAG water. You put the tap water in there. It filters down, very fine filter, several different processes, and then it sits on special mineral stones from Asia, and then it goes through a magnet. So there's about 5 or 6 different things that nature does that cleanse water that are all in this little unit. So take a sip, quickly. Okay, and now we're going to do it again, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, resist. Love this. Do you notice the difference? Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Now this is supposed to be big, smart water. I just bought this morning so I could try it. Okay, Jennifer Aniston advertises this. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, is this? Big difference. I don't want to leave you that way, so I'm going to give you some good water benefits. So what kind of difference would that make in your life?
I think that this water is make you strong, and this water will make you weak.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly right. That's the simplest way to put it. Great.
Thank you.
So this costs under $300, which is amazing. And then you replace the filters, twice a year, and you have this very fine water. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And you can take it with you everywhere too. This amazing little thing. It magnetizes, alkalizes, mineralizes, and purifies the water. And you take it anywhere with you. Make sure you empty it before you go through the TSA. I've done that, it's like, what is that? So I had to empty it and go back around, or I had to go back around and empty it and come through again. That was not fun. The nutrition line, I'm just going to tell you really quickly that it's absolutely amazing. It's in its 4th generation of development since the first ones that they had 20 years ago. And it's absolutely state-of-the-art. What I like best about them are their pharmaceutical grade, which means what's on the label is in every capsule. That's not true of most of your commercial vitamins. And it's designed to support the different functions of your body without megadosing everything. Everything, again, is about balance. And it makes it really easy. You don't have to be a nutritionist to know what to do. This is men's daily. This is women's daily. This is for the immune system. This is for your pets' joints. This is for liver. They make it really easy. This is for your omega fatty acids, your joint. And this is the finest vegetable source in the world. Organically grown barley, young jade beans are sensible. Digestion. And this is absolutely unique in the marketplace. Dr. Naidu has worked for over 30 years on lactoferrin, which is a huge molecule that's in immune factor in mother's milk. and he's designed it to support digestion and bones just like it does in a newborn. And it's not a vitamin because we do make it, but as we age, we make less of it. And we have so many people that my generation are concerned about their bone health, and they're also concerned that they don't want to be on Boniva and these things that make their hips fall apart and their jaws fall apart, and this makes all the difference. So there's a whole lot of other products. When we're done, I'd love you to check them out, but I'd like to ask for a few stories, personal stories. Volunteers to share a minute or two of your own story.
I will.
Oh, great, Connie,
Okay,
thanks.
all right, okay, so I'll tell you my tennis story.
Yes.
Not a big tennis player, but I've been playing off and on over the years. And I was rated a 3-5 player probably 10 years ago, and I was just sort of a hacker, but I still had a lot of strength. And it's like, oh, who cares? But then the competition got tougher. I was beginning to get older. I was doing other things too. And then my strength was really on wane. And then my rating went down. And I thought, well, I guess I'm just getting old. And but I didn't like that. And so I started practicing more, doing other things as well, and working really, really hard. And I got my rating back up to the 3.5. So it was very, very difficult to sustain that. And as luck or whatever, I don't know, athletics, it can be very fickle at times. So I became reacquainted with Randy. We've known each other a very long time, since high school, family friends. And Randy insisted for me to try the Nikken line, and I'm like, okay, because I love the idea of magnetics, and that really just played right into my tennis game and my health. And I'd say now I'm a very solid 3-5 player. I have, right now, the spring season, I like to challenge myself. I'm playing singles, so I've been playing singles Thursdays and Fridays, back to back. And I feel prepared. I know I'm going to have some wins and losses, such as sports, but I feel really, really prepared for it. And I'm really into the magnetics as a result. I've been doing this for, I'd say, consistently for a year now. And I have a sleep system. I just got mini magnets, actually, just about a month ago, and I had a little one on my knee. I thought I felt something. And for about 24 hours, I still had like a little twinge and never had any problems at all. But whatever, I am playing hard. And the pain went away, just went away. I would feel it a little bit in my sleep. I put the mini on, and it's been, the adhesives are great, so they stay on. Like, I swim too, so I've forgotten about it. I swam a mile, and they stayed on through a mile of swimming. So I think they're great, and the bigger picture is that the magnets just really have sustained me and brought me to really the level that I want to be at, and so I'm really excited. And the arm wraps, the hand wraps, if I have like some sort of a little pain, maybe my shoulder, I have the big magnet disc that just tape it to my shoulder, and that helps too. And the insoles I like to wear around the house because I'm kind of princess and key with my sneakers, so I wear them actually after, not while I'm playing, and it all helps. I think it's all very, very comprehensive. And the water bottle, I was in a match last night, and the water bottle was there, so yeah, it's great. I also water my plants with the water bottle. I think the plants are very happy.
Yeah, and then that's not a placebo effect on the plants. Not at all. Yeah, Dana.
I have 2 knee surgery stories. Just about the time I was getting into Nikken, I was skating, I injured my knee, and I had to have an ACL reconstruction. So right after the surgery, in my ACL, I placed 2 of the pedicels with a power chip. And I was at day 4 flexibility by day 1. And when I was physical therapy. I was a medic in the Navy for 20 years. I told the doctor I didn't always like flexibility. He said, I don't know. I said, I'm in martial arts, and I was in Taekwondo, so Taekwondo is high kicking. And we really get happy about kicking people in the head. And I didn't want to lose that ability. So I used the ACE for the power chips, so the cut slips to them. And I was able to, the last day when the doctor seen me, I was able to extend my knee all the way out and all the way to my back. And he's like, okay. So I lost that flexibility, which is important to me. To be able to have it. The second knee surgery is one that didn't happen. And that was with my mom. We went to the doctor, she was complaining knee pain, we went to the doctor, we went to the orthopedic doctor, and on the x-ray it showed that there's no space there, so there's bone arthritis. So they scheduled a knee replacement, and in the meantime I put her on the osteoids, because I had heard Lady Crane's presentation about people doing knee surgeries and stuff like that. Put her on the osteoids, and before the surgery happened, she said, well, my knee's not hurting anymore. I said, well, why are you going to have the surgery? Well, she's very sweet, and she didn't want to make the doctor mad by canceling the surgery. I had worked with them for 20 years. She said, well, if you'll call, I'll cancel it. So I called, and we canceled the surgery, and probably about 5 years ago. She's never had a knee replacement. My dad, on the other hand, who didn't listen to me, had to have a knee replacement. So that was.
Well, that's great.
That was pretty neat about that.
Well, let me thank you guys. Oh, and Judy,
I'm just going to say, you asked who is not stressed. I am not stressed. Why?
okay,
Because
why?
I have been in a wellness home for almost 20 years.
Yes.
And I'm a retired educator, so I don't correct papers anymore. But when you were talking about the bone, first of all, I'm waiting for my first great-grandchild, so we will have 5 generations in wellness products.
Wow.
But when you were talking about the Fosamax, my mother was on Fosamax. When I was taking care of her and I had to take her to the dentist, I had to sign 3 pages, 10 places, permission for him to touch her because of the jawbone thing.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even going to take her tooth out because she had been on Fosamax, which of course I took her off immediately and put her on the osteoids.
Mm-hmm.
But I am a big fan of I do, and the bone thing because she had osteoporosis.
Yes,
And she fell and broke her hip several times.
Michelle knows all about that. She's a dental technician, and she knows you got to sign your life away.
Well, we found that it's not as bad as they thought initially. The first 2 cases where there was a severe infection and the patient was on there was no healing, and that's what happened. And with the osteoids product, it allows the body to heal. It's not just about the bone, the way our body works, our bones create bones, and they break it down so that new cells can grow. And it's a dynamic product. We think just the heart tissue is just there. The bones always regenerate. And the Fosamax, when you look at that type of product, don't allow regeneration of this phobic calcium cases. But Fosamax mimics the whole body and allows our bodies to use it to heal.
So thank you for testimonials, and I now want to turn it over to Mike. He does have to catch a plane, and we can talk more and do more demos later. But I want to introduce Mike, and I'm going to tell them how great you are.